This is Maura Sullivan, author of An Anagram of the Ideas of filmmaker Maya Deren, creative work in motion pictures, Stockholm University. With this film, Deren began to solidify a connection between art and ethnography. The film was made before she went to Haiti, and it is a rite of passage. A metamorphic journey from one part of life to another. The journey begins with Maya, the initiator of the ritual, moving back and forth in a room, smiling and talking. The entrance of the bride, played by Rita Cristiani, is described as sleepwalking. She approaches a ball of wool set to a metronome for winding. The weaving constitutes a basic feminine rite where the initiate, the bride, is being woven into a new form. Deren's shooting script characterizes this moment as the anxiety of discovery, where she comes to realize there is no way out. This is from the shooting script of the original title for this film, Ritual and Ordeal. A woman stands in the doorway who will be responsible for her initiation, the initiator, played by Anais Nin. She used slow motion to film the moments between the standing and the sitting, the seeing and the greeting, the coming and the going. As part of the original script, the bride enters the embarrassing party with the ball of wool where people jostle her. The ball is kicked out of her hands and under a table. She then finds the head of a china doll, which she slips into her dress. Her mantilla then becomes a Chinese-like headdress, though it does not change shape. Ritual in Transfigured Time was called a mosaic of movement in which gestures are choreographed into a tribal dance. This dance is described in Deren's film notes as an urban ritual, a cocktail party. And she arranged the movements and variations of the groups, talking together, then back to other people, talking together, then opposite sides to other people, introducing people in greetings, talking back over shoulders at each other and across each other, pointing out someone and turning away to put out a cigarette or drink and turning back. Deren emphasized that all of these movements correspond to a choreographic whole, the core and organic principle of unity in Ritual in Transfigured Time. Following the cocktail party, references to gesture are followed by ritual dance. In the final cut, these are three archetypes of the mythological females, the Norns or the Moirae, juxtaposed with the statue of their ancient form. Aspects of the Greek goddess Fate. One sows the seeds, one spins the cloth from the seed, and the third cuts it. This last aspect is associated with change and death, evident in the final scenes of Ritual in Transfigured Time, and the terror of the bride in approaching her metamorphosis. The potential husband, played by Frank Westbrook, is also shown as a statue in frozen form, waiting to step forward. Animated, he leaps and bounds through the modern museum court, chasing his bride. In outtakes, the chase was a pursuit to the underworld of the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice, whom he tries to bring back from Hades. This scene was considered for Maya. Several transitions with Rita and Maya were used in the original script and outtakes, and only two remain in the final cut. The nature of the metamorphosis of this film, explaining close-ups of terror, changed to emphasize the temporal and spatial transfiguration of the widow and bride becoming one. The underwater interval was to have included a sequence from an astronomical film from the New York Natural Museum. The achievement of the status of bride bestows grace upon the widow, which is in this case mortality. In a shooting script and outtakes, this was called the lascivious folk ballet, set in Central Park, and was a maypole dance with Frank Westbrook and Rita Christiani. Deren describes in her original script the feeling of lack of gravity. Another scene reminiscent of At Land shows an object from afar turning into a road where she walks in the reiterated journey ending in a moment of decision. This journey is made within the sea. Rita then enters the road, making the identical journey. A boy beckons her from the window of the house, and she enters and climbs the stairs. On the walk, she notes that she's joyous in the ocean and free from the shame of being on land. Set on Bleecker Street, the outtakes show, for example, Anais Nin dancing in joy and swinging her cape. Maya meets a man and a boy, children in a playground, and a pushcart, which alternates selling clams and fruit. Plans include showing the boy at play in the house with blocks of the alphabet. Maya tries to arrange them in order, but does not know how. He becomes upset, and she hands him a girl doll to calm him down. He places the doll in a chair and winds wool around her. The doll begins to scream with agony. He lines up cannons to shoot her, and she dies again and again and again with a strangely happy expression on her face. A woman floats in positive in a white bridal gown, as if in an astronomical coffin, wrote Deren. Her face turns to negative. Rita is shown in a black bridal gown and white cross. Using reverse, the clothes of the bride in white floats away, and the widow's dress a negative.